If your overhead press feels crunchy, we're going to dive into all of the things on what you should look at, what to fix, and some key takeaways that are going to help you press without the crunch. Okay, so before we dive into all that, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, make sure that you're sharing this with a friend if you feel like it's helpful. We are on a mission to put so much value into YouTube, but I can't do that without you liking, subscribing, doing all the things. So let's talk about how to get rid of the crunchy in your shoulders. If your overhead press feels crunchy, if it feels clicky, if it feels pinchy, if it feels grindy every time you go to overhead press, you might just think, it's just wear and tear, or it's not really that painful. It's just annoying, little bit of pain, but it goes away. Sure, right. However, it's super annoying and it can get in the way of your lifts. So what should you do? Can you do anything about it? When I'm thinking of the shoulder feeling like it's pinching, if it feels like it's crunching, for me, what I think of is that the shoulder is just running out of room, right? There's just not enough room in the shoulder to move the way that we want it to. So when we go up overhead, crunch, click, grind, pinch, all the things, we want to do whatever we can to optimize the movements so that you can lift pain free and keep progressing your overhead movements. We're going to dive into what exactly the crunch might be. So, here's some things that might be going on, right? So, if the shoulder blade's not rotating, right, we want to have a little bit of rotation. That helps us get all the way up, right? If you try to keep your shoulder blade pinned and raise, I can't go very far, right? Because I run out of room. So that's one thing that we want to check. We want to make sure that the shoulder blade is moving optimally, moving like it should. It's called upward rotation. So when we upwardly rotate that shoulder blade, it allows us to get that arm up overhead. Okay, so that's the first place I would check. Second place, if we're going like this, boom, we are running out of room. It feels tight. One thing you can try, sit here, go back, then try to really open up that chest, go back again. I've had this test multiple times on my channel, but that is super important to see if the thoracic spine is involved. Another thing we can look at is what is the position of the shoulder bone, the humerus, right, the arm bone. What is that in relation to the shoulder blade? If it's kind of jammed up in there, if there's not a lot of space, if the tissues are just really tight, what we might want to do is open that shoulder up so that it can glide much smoother. The shoulder is supposed to glide in the joint, not, rub and do everything else. There's a few things that we can look at. One of my favorite exercises, if we are truly running out of room in the shoulder itself, is something like a banded shoulder flexion. That is one of my absolute favorites for shoulder impingement for this scenario. I can link that video here, but make sure that, as always, you're looking for the root cause, not just slapping on a bunch of exercises. Another thing that we can look at, banded cat cows, we can work on shoulder blade mobility. Shoulder blade, like scap cars, we can do some of those subscap releases that I've talked about on the channel before. There are so many things that we can do to try to influence the shoulder blade position, but that is going to be very important. You can take videos, you can assess progress that way, but we want to make sure that that shoulder blade is actually rotating through that. Then we want to, again, make sure that if we need to do something like a banded shoulder flexion, we're doing that. Another thing we can do, like the banded cat cows, for your thoracic spine, thoracic spine, shoulder blade, the glenohumeral joint, those are the big three when it comes to shoulder health. And so if we're attacking each of those areas, that is setting us up for a healthy shoulder. But again, you want to get to the root cause of your issue. Otherwise, you're just taking exercises, slapping it on, hoping that it helps. It's like, a leak in your house, there's a pipe that busted, and you're just over there mopping up the freaking water without actually fixing the pipe or shutting the water off, right? So you're not fixing the root cause if you're just slapping shit on it. So you want to make sure you are finding the root cause, and I know you're probably tired of me saying that by now, but it is so crucial if you want to lift pain-free. So We don't want to push through this. We don't want to just ignore it because our body is giving us warning signs that, hey, something's maybe not moving the way that it should be. And even if you're not having a ton of pain, it's still something to pay attention to before it turns into pain. We want to make sure you're addressing the issues that need addressed, whether that is what's called the glenohumeral joint, which is this right here, you're addressing how the shoulder blade's moving, or you're addressing the thoracic spine. All of those things, very important. So the crunch, the pinch, it can be feedback. Doesn't mean it's a death sentence. It doesn't mean anything like that, but you do want to clear it up before it becomes something that is super painful. This isn't just, random exercises that you're doing. We want to make sure that you are preventing an injury, but you're also optimizing that performance. If the shoulder isn't moving as optimally as it could, how many pounds are you leaving on the table? How many kilos are you leaving off the bar because your shoulder's just not moving optimally? So not only are you trying to prevent an injury, but you're also trying to optimize your performance. So clean that shoulder motion up, get to lifting heavier weights, make sure you're doing it pain-free. If you want to collapse the time that it takes for you to get from pain to pain-free PRs, you can text me. My number's down below. Text me, say P3. We're going to talk about all the things that are going on so that we can develop a high-level strategy that's going to be custom to you, that's going to get you from where you're at now to where you want to go. So reach out to me. Let me know what questions you have. Shoot me a text. Say, hey, what's up? Saw this video. Let's talk. Let's do all the things. I'll see you on the next one.